What's generational wealth?
Wealth is different from money. It's not just like money, right?
Uh-huh.
It includes assets. It
Okay.
includes the education.
So does wealth and your words go together, or they are kind of separate?
Black people are less to go to college than other ethnic groups or race in this country. That's not because they don't want to go to school. That's because one, either they didn't even have anybody as a role model in the first place. Two, if you tell an African American to go back home, where is he actually going to call home? Is it Ghana? Is it Nigeria? Is it Cameroon? Because all these people were.
One thing we can also realize is if I'm trying to start something and it's not working here, that doesn't mean it won't work somewhere else.
How do you think the community that we are in influences tackling this issue of generational wealth gap? Welcome to the Success Mindset Podcast. Today I'm here with Ken and my name is Smith. On this podcast, we talk about what we can do to become successful. And today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic that's very also nuanced and controversial as well. But here is the truth, the fact.
Nuanced power.
Yeah.
What's the meaning of nuanced?
Nuance.
Uh-huh. You said it's very nuanced. What's the meaning
Yeah.
of nuance?
So something that's very delicate, but also has different perspectives.
That's nuance.
Yeah.
Okay.
People can actually see it from different perspective. Even if you are saying A, people can see B or C.
I feel it's like that with everything, but we'll take it like that.
Yep. But here's the fact. Only 20% of Americans inherit any wealth at all. Only 20%. And when they do, most receive less than 50,000. Meanwhile, if nothing changes by 2053, that's just 30 years from now, the median black household wealth in the U.S. is projected to fall to zero.
You say 50,000. 50,000 what?
50,000 US dollars. Yeah, let me clarify that. But that's a very stark observation according to research.
Or research?
It's right here. You can.
No. Where's the research from? You just can't throw anything out there.
The research is from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances. And then we also have the Brookings Institution about the median white household wealth. That's 8 times more than the black households. So this is a very, like I said, nuanced, and my friend here is trying to make fun of the English. This is a very controversial, very interesting topic that we're going to talk about today. Bridging the generational wealth gap. And as I read from the introduction, what are some of the decisions that you are making that will actually help to bridge that gap? Yeah.
So generational wealth gap.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's generational wealth?
So wealth is different from money. It's not just like money, right?
Uh-huh.
It includes assets. It includes the education, lifestyle and habits that you pass on.
Okay.
It also includes connections or resources, networks. So rich people, they have these connections of rich people that they always hang out with, right? And so that's passed on even from one generation to the other generation.
Because their children become friends, and then it continues.
That's how it works.
Okay, so that is wealth.
Yeah, that's part of the wealth.
Part of the wealth. Yeah. So when we talk about wealthy people in this world, right, we often put a price tag on their head. It's this person is worth this much. So does wealth and your words go together, or they are kind of separate?
They're separate, but they also go together.
How?
So, for example, the elites in the society, they have, that's what we call, we group them together, right?
Yeah.
We kind of group them together and say these are the elites of society because they have some social status. 2, they have some wealth. They have some connections, community that they all come together and then transfer knowledge. They share ideas. Sometimes they come together, invest together to make money, to make connections, build assets so that they can share among themselves. So like it's so wealth and your worth, like they go together, but they are also separate things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think in that sense, bridging that gap kind of sounds like something that is very far away from achieving, though. I don't know.
That's how it sounds like, but I think we can actually take actions right now to bridge that gap that exists in society.
Because like the people at the top will always stay at the top, and they will keep passing down things to their children and their family members, you know, and that wealth is going to stay within, you know, as you said, within kind of like their circle, you know, people that they are connected with. So if you are not connected to them, you know, how do you start?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. As I was reading the research, there is this one black man who owns Beatrice International.
Beatrice?
Yeah.
Okay.
His name is, what is the name? Reginald Lewis. So from like how he did it, how he owned this international business, like through education. So he did a lot of schooling, not just like book schooling, right? But also like educating himself about like how to actually become successful by making like investing in assets instead of like just working 9 to 5, right?
Okay.
Like just gaining an income. He also made connections, right? So, and then he also invested in the community that he was inside. Like, so he's the first black person to own like an international business.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like, he didn't just rely on or complain about, okay, the system is rigged against me, right? And there are people who are always going to be ahead of me. But he focused on what is in his control, like his community, people around him, educating himself about like how to actually make money and become successful, right? So those are some of the steps that we can also take, right? Another thing that we can do.
And so with him though, has he been able to bridge that gap?
We cannot say I mean like his net worth is not like that exposed, and even like what is put out there, we might not know if that's the actual money or not, you know. And so we can't like really pinpoint, but he's an example that has actually made an effort.
So it's like you can start the process to kind of bridge that gap.
Bridge the gap.
And so once you are able to start that process, right? Now I'm asking these questions because a lot of times you hear people say, you know, instead of you using that money to, you know, build something that like your generations are going to come, and some of these, you know, your generations that will even come, they will not even like take good care of the things that you put in place, and they will come and then like destroy it. So
yeah,
I mean, just enjoy what you're making instead of trying to bridge that gap.
But that's a very good point. How do we transfer not just money or assets, but knowledge, habits, and access to resources and people?
Yeah, because I feel that's how you bridge the gap. Because I should share that story. The gap is not, we can always start something, right? And when we started, like when we talked about legacy, right? What are we really going to pass down so that the generations that come are going to say, okay, like my ancestors started this, and we have systems in place that ensure that this then continues onward throughout our family, you know, or throughout our circle. So like, how do we really set that system up?
Yeah. So like I was saying, like I'll also throw a question back to you.
Okay.
How often do we even talk about money or like strategic ways of building assets and access to resources within our family?
That's a good question. Right? That's a really good question.
Very
yeah,
often.
We don't. And that brought back to mind something that happened to me the past 2 weeks. There was a friend that reached out and was like, hey, do you know anybody that's in like fintech? And I was like, actually, I don't. You know, and then sitting down, I was thinking, I was like, how come I don't know anybody that's in fintech?
Yeah.
Like in my circle. And I was like, that doesn't sound good to me. I need to try and then find someone in fintech. So it was like, wait, I'm not really paying much attention to like financial side of my life. And so it's like, yeah, we don't talk about it that much for me, but at the same time, I'm sure there are others that talk about it a lot. People that have like finance people in their circle, I'm sure they have that conversation often.
Yeah.
And so it's mostly who you have in your circle that's going to determine the kind of conversations that you have.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about access, not just like building assets, but access to people, access to resources. Like most of these things that I was reading, if not for this topic that I wanted to talk about with you, I wouldn't have really taken the time to read about like in details, right? But because I want to seek for knowledge, I want to seek for understanding so that I can pass knowledge to other people, I had to go and read about them, right? And it starts with these kind of conversations that we are having right now. Like, if this message gets to someone and they also share it with other people, it starts the movement of, oh, okay, these are some of the important things that we actually need to be taking into consideration as far as like bridging the generational wealth gap that we talk about is concerned. And it's not only that, there are also systems in place that actually make sure that gap always exists, right? Talk about education, talk about redlining. Like, people say, like, if you talk to mortgage brokers and insurance companies, they tell you, oh, we're not going to use your race in making decisions, but actually it goes into making decisions. Even getting a mortgage from a bank, sometimes they see, okay, is this person, what's the racial profile for this person? So all these things are in place to make sure that only certain people in society get some advantages over other people. And for us as blacks, Asians, Latin Americans, like, if you're not white, you're already disadvantaged. That's the fact, right? But we also cannot let that demoralize us, that we cannot make the effort to bridge that gap that has existed for so many years. And that's why we are having this conversation.
I'm like, if you say we are already disadvantaged, though, in what sense?
Like education, as I was telling you about.
What kind of education?
Like debt. What kind of education?
Yes.
Like, do you know that? So I was reading about this. Let me see if I can find it.
As you look for it, though, I'm like, if we go back, right, our civilization was very different from what the Western world civilization is for now, right? And so the education that we had, that for now we've kind of put away to take up what the Western world is providing, was unique in its own way, right? I feel it's something that we can go back for, right? We can do research on what that system looks like for us. The resources and things that we have in our own continent and our own lands is different from here, right? The climate and everything, all these things, kind of contribute to how our education is supposed to be. But I feel we don't really pay attention to that. We kind of look and try to adopt something that does not belong to us. And that is where we'll feel like, oh, we may be at a disadvantage. But it's like,
okay,
why are you trying to go for something that is not yours? It's like you're trying to close a gap that for you, it's not really yours to close.
I see your point. But I think the education that I was talking about was like college education, right?
Okay.
Not just like being well-rounded, educated in certain areas of your life, like financial education and all those things. But I'm talking about college education, like systemically, like black people are less to go to college.
Systematically.
Systematically.
No, you're good.
Black people are less to go to college than other ethnic groups or race in this country. And that's not because they don't want to go to school. That's because one, either they didn't even have anybody as a role model to look up to in the first place. Two, the way the districting is done in this country also affects like where you go to school and the type of education you even get in school, right? Also, like, when we're in college at BYU Idaho, people used to go for FAFSA and all those things, right?
Yeah, I used to hear that, but
yeah, but the capital is not there for everybody in this country. Like even to start your own business, like come out of college and say I want to become an entrepreneur. Sometimes you don't even get a capital to even start your own business, right?
Why is that?
That's what I'm saying. Like these things are like they are how do I even put it? But like it's like they are structured. Like the society is structured in such a way that you don't get access to these things
because
from certain
reasons. Because they see it as something that is not yours, right? Think about it. You are from a different family, right? And then you go and try to integrate yourself with someone else's family. They will try to treat you like they are a family member.
I see.
But at the same time, you yourself, you are not part of that family, right? I remember was it primary school or something, there was like a story book like that where we read about, was it the crow and the hen? Yeah, like the crow thought that it was part of like the chicks, right? And then he grew up and realized that, no, like I am different. You understand? So it was like, no matter how you try to like fit in, as you said, the system is not designed for you.
Yeah, but
right? Your system is somewhere else.
But you're part of the society. So you can't say that this is not for me, so I'm not going to survive, right?
You're going to do your best to survive.
Yeah, you're part of the society. And that's why I said this is very controversial and nuanced. So like if we talk about African Americans, for example, like if you tell an African American to go back home, where is he actually going to call home? Is it Ghana? Is it Nigeria? Is it Cameroon? Because like all these people were like they were taken from different places and they came here, right? And so this place has become their home technically.
Okay.
Like because they can go back to like 5 generations and they can still say that their ancestors were from here, right? But we know that they came from Africa. Right. And so this is their home. This has become their home. You can't say like, or they can go back to like Ghana or Nigeria or Cameroon or Togo because this is what they see as their home. This is where they grew up. But also the truth is that what they are growing up in, the society that they are growing up in, is not like built for them to be successful. Right. And that's where we have these conversations. Like we can say that because we are in this kind of society, we cannot do anything to bridge that gap that has existed for so many years.
Okay,
right?
I see your point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, it's like having that mentality is what's going to help you bridge that gap, right? Of course, you cannot sit down and say, oh, the system is not set up for me to succeed. And so because of that, I'm not going to do anything, right? And that was kind of what I was trying to bring up is like, yeah, the system was not really meant for you. It was meant for those that created the system, that society, and they may try to integrate you into it, but it's not going to work fully as for them, right?
Yeah.
And I should share that story about the first black man to like own an international business.
Reginald Lewis.
One point that I drew from that is he created an international business. One thing we can also realize is if I'm trying to start something and it's not working here, that doesn't mean it won't work somewhere else, right? I feel a lot of times we feel like, for us to create wealth or for us to be able to start a business venture, we have to kind of like start at home, and then try to like have it in our society and our community. And I said he was involved in his community. But if you find yourself in a community where the system is not really set up for you to succeed, your business is not being patronized, you need to realize that you can move that business somewhere else. In the ancient days, they were doing trades, not with their own people, right? They were getting on vessels, sailing across the ocean for so many months, going to different lands where they didn't even know that people existed. And then they'll go on there and then they'll trade. And then they'll take things back home. And for us now, I feel we have the internet that kind of connects us globally and makes things like this very easy for us to do. And so I feel that's one area where we can kind of look at to expand our operations or like our ambitions to kind of create that wealth gap. Or bridge it.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Something that I also read about was like our own behaviors and like habits when it comes to like wealth building or assets building. Most of the times we focus on our 9-to-5 jobs, and we think we are okay with that, right?
I'll ask you why. I mean, if you put stuff out there, I'll ask you, why? Why do you think we focus on that?
Well, one, because like think about it. If you come out of college, you are applying for jobs, right?
Why?
Right after you come out of college, you are applying for jobs.
Why?
Because one, well, like you probably even have like student loan debts that you need to pay off. So already you're under pressure to make some money and pay off your debt, like by going to school. Just to gain an education, you're already in debt, right? And that's not for everybody. Some people, they go to school for free. Some people can get merit-based scholarships and all that, right? But across board, it's not equal. There is always inequalities there.
Okay.
And then two, probably some family members are relying on you to provide for them. So you need some kind of stream of income to support family, pay your rent, and all those things, right? So like you have responsibilities that you need to meet up. And so one, right after like you're done with school, you're applying for jobs, like here and there. So you don't even have the time to actually sit down and say, this is what I'm good at. There is a market for this. So let me go into this kind of business to create wealth for myself and for my generations to come, right?
Yeah.
So that's one point. And these things can start with like having these conversations with children as early as possible, so that by the time they are out of college, they know exactly what they are doing. They have the access. If you, as the parents or grandparents, put something together for them, they can rely on that as capital to start something, right? But here's the case that not every family or not every culture actually instills those habits or those values in children and like youth to think in that direction.
I was asking why, because to me, it's like we succumb to pressure. We don't really see it, but I feel that's what's happening. The education system is set up to make us that way, right? Because when you go to school, all they talk about is, go and get internships, apply for jobs and like work on your resume and like try and then go and work for somebody. Now, when you look at people who are more into like technical jobs, right, that go to like, should I say technical? Kind of like hands-on jobs, right? For them, they become like an apprentice, and then they go and they have a master that they learn from hands-on. And they have a set period of time where they're like, okay, I'll get to this point, and then I will leave and then go and then start my own business. And when we look at people that do like go into like the beauty industry, it's kind of like that. People that kind of go into carpentry, plumbing, like electricians. But I feel now with like technology, electricians are also kind of becoming more like corporate, And so growing up, I saw that a lot. And I feel that is our system, where the system is set up for you to learn how to fish, not for someone to be the fisherman and always fishing and then
giving
you some. And that is how the Western education system is set up. Is they have all these people at the top, the CEOs who own the businesses, and they are the ones dishing out the fishes. But I bet you the quantity of fish that they hold is even way more than what they dish out in the end.
Yeah. And I will tell you, currently there was a congressional hearing. One of the CEOs was making $2 billion or $2 million, and like his employees were making like 80,000 or 100,000 a year. And so like they were questioning him, why not like improve that? Oh, was it Boeing? Yeah, I think it was one of the aircraft companies.
Probably Boeing, because I know they've come under a lot of like criticism.
And so like they were questioning him, why not increase the why not set up a place where people can actually work and manage your systems well, so that like there are no like accidents that we are seeing, crashes that we are seeing a lot, and that buttresses what you're talking about. Something that I also think about is how we sometimes feel the need to like conform to society, right? Like I was talking about education.
And yeah, before you could, and that's like the pressure I was talking about, right? You were saying that it's like family is kind of dependent on you. You have people that are like waiting for you, and like you have debts and loans and stuff to pay. In Ghana, they will say something like "Okafu Didi," right? Yeah. It's like, yeah, even if you owe, you still eat, and if you are owing loans and then they come and then they say, okay, because you have defaulted on your loans, we are going to like seize your property, and you don't have any property, and they're like, okay, then we are going to arrest you and put you in jail. They put you in jail and they are still going to feed you. You serve your jail term and then you come out. And then that is it, right? And I feel a lot of times we are built that way, where it's like we allow the pressure to kind of to take over us. And we are not able to fully sit down and then think through things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, this is the only plan I have. When plan A fails, then I'm not able to do anything. When we had our conversation with Rodney, you know, it was like, yeah, he was working for the government and they had all these drones. But he didn't really take off until there was that point where it's like, oh, nothing is really happening. But then there are these drones here. So I guess if there is no work, let me look for something else to do. Right? And so I feel, yes, things will happen. But at the same time, we ourselves need to take that initiative to try and create that separation from that pressure that society kind of places on us.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. But we should also understand that life happens, you know, like, and there are responsibilities that you need to fulfill, and everything in our society today revolves around being able to afford something, right? Or exchange money to get something in return. So that's why people are doing whatever they can to survive, right? But I think we can move beyond survival to actually getting comfortable, right? And that's why we are having this conversation. It's not just about making an ends meet. It's about educating yourself, having the right information, the right resources and access, so that you can make decisions that will actually impact you right now and also in the future. Like we are aiming towards like having that comfort, having that less pressure on you to be able to actually sit down, relax, and make good decisions. And that's why we are having this conversation. Oh, something that I wanted to talk about when you are talking about the people who go to school and the CEOs are the ones giving us fish.
Yep.
And like if you go to MIT or if you study MIT, they actually intentionally develop people to become CEOs of big tech companies, right? And so we have institutions that actually aim at training people to become managers, like starting a business, and employing other people. So yes, some part of the education system here actually encourages people to become entrepreneurs, right?
What part?
What do you mean?
That's like the elite part, though.
We can't say the elite part. I mean, like if you go to the University of Utah, right? They have this program called Master of Science in Business Creation. So it's part of the David Eccles School of Business.
Okay.
And all they teach you is how to start your own business, right? But even with that, you still need to pay to go to school to get that knowledge. You don't get just the knowledge, but you also get resources like people who can mentor you and actual like people who have actually done the thing before that you want to do, so that you can learn from them. So there are systems in place to encourage entrepreneurship, but like on a very broad view, most of our education system is like go to school, graduate with good GPA, get a job somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And that's not helpful in the long run, because even if you want to, you think about it, you finish your graduate degree and you don't even know how to run your own business, right?
Yeah.
Because all you did in school was to like get good understanding of the materials in school that they teach you, produce good grade, and pass with good grades, right?
Yeah.
No, like nothing like I mentioned, a few schools do that, or a few programs focus on that, but I feel like it should be like part of our education system, like to teach you how to fish and how to be fished for, right?
Yeah, and as you're talking about the education part of things, is like one question that I always ask myself, especially for like graduate schools, is you guys write thesis. I'm like, what are these theses for?
Well, it depends on what you're studying.
Okay.
Right. Because I wasn't in graduate school when I did my first research. I did it at BYU Idaho.
Okay.
So like you basically focus on a problem in society, and you come up with a postulate to actually like solve it.
Okay.
And so that's just the theory part of it. And then there is the practical. But most of the time, the research is done, all the knowledge is there, all the information you need to actually solve the problem is there, but nobody takes it seriously, right? A few companies actually invest in research. Like I know Apple and Google, they do that a lot. They will hire a few PhD students to come and solve a problem for them. And that's how they get patents for so many things that's in the tech space, right? But that's the purpose of a thesis. Find a problem and provide a solution to it with all the knowledge that you gain in school.
Yeah, so it's funny how a lot of people write thesis, but after that it's like, oh, I'm done presenting my thesis. And I'm like, okay, so what did you really solve? Like, is that something that you feel you could start a business with? Or this is just something that's like, oh, just try and then do this so that we know you know how to do research, right? If they give you a problem and the solutions are already in place, then what's the point, right? It's like this is an opportunity for you to be able to start something on your own, right? And for me, it's like if I'm supposed to start a business, that's probably what I'm going to do. It's not going to be fraud, but I'm going to just employ graduate students.
Yeah, but you remember at BYU Idaho, they had this, what's it? Like people will come to us and like try out some business ideas. Like, hey, we are trying to set up this company here. And I think most have actually like launched instead of just being like, oh, this is something we have to do for credit in school, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for them, they already had problems they wanted to solve. But what I was saying is, just have all these graduate students come together, let them find the problem that is currently in the society, and then have them try to come up with a solution for it. If that's supposed to take them 2 years, then give them enough time so that they can do that. And then once they do that, then they have that out there. Like you look at all these Nobel Prize winners and stuff, and the things that the solution that they provided, it took them years.
Yeah.
You know, and because they also had the support, they had the resources. These days, you know, as you're saying, you sit down and it's like, yeah, you need to like think of food you want to eat. You know, it's like housing, like transportation, and so many things that our mind kind of drifts to. That's like, yeah, we need to survive. You know, but it's like people that are able to come up with research.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how do they even look like? Do they even eat? Do they even sleep? You know, they spend a lot of time and effort to come up with a lot of discoveries that really benefits the society.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading. Oh no, I was actually listening to this guy. He wrote this book called $1 Million Offer, and he was basically saying like, I mean, he gave so many ideas how to start a business and actually make it scale, but he was saying most of the businesses that don't thrive, they just focus on marketing price, right? Instead of focusing on value that they can provide to their customers. And if you can provide the value faster, so that it solves people's problem, they'll pay you for whatever you charge them.
True.
It sounds like outrageous, but that's very true. Like if someone has a problem and you can provide a solution for them like right away, and you have a system that actually works, like you have a proof for that, you can charge them any amount that you want, right? So that's basically what he was saying, that you can actually make your first $100 million by doing the right thing at the right time and selling it to the right market. And these are some of the things that we should be taught in school, right? Nobody talks about these things like in the community that we find ourselves, and that's the question I want to ask. How do you think the community that we are in influences tackling this issue of generational wealth gap?
That's a really good question. Let me just use Utah here for an example, right? You have different class of communities. You go to places kind of like in Highland. You know, you look at like the people that live there. It's kind of like ultra wealthy.
Excuse me.
Right? So if you live there, you are exposed from your infancy to wealth, how to build wealth, you know, and how to like maintain and grow wealth. And if you go to other places that are like less privileged, where most of the community members even need like take buses, they don't have their own cars and stuff, you know, they grow up thinking, oh, that's just how life is meant to be, you know, where their parents have to like leave home and then go to work from like 9 to 5. They see them probably just like 4 hours every day, and then that is it. They also feel like, oh, well, I think this is how life is supposed to be. So I feel the community kind of influences us in that way. It gives us kind of that mentality. But if we leave our communities and then leave that comfort zone and then go to like different communities where I feel like, oh, I feel like I do not fit, you know? So it's going to kind of be hard for me to really live in this community and relate to these people. But we need to know and remember that nothing good really comes easy. If we really want to grow, we have to go through all those discomfort, you know, all the hardship in order for us to really grow. And so I feel, yes, community really influences us in that way. But at the same time, we or ourselves also have that power to define our community, you know, not the community that we are born in, but the community that we want ourselves to be in.
Okay. Yeah, I think that those are good points. And I referenced Reginald Lewis, the owner of Beatrice International. And what he did actually was teaching young men in his community. Like he's basically passing on the knowledge from all the mistakes and the success that he's had, he's passing on to his community, right? Teaching young Black people how to also become successful. And so I think those are some of the things. Like, education is very important, not just going to school, but having people who have done something before imparting knowledge to you makes all the difference, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we can encourage those things in our communities. Wherever we live, the people that we hang out with, we should be talking about these things. We should make it like part of our conversation, like daily habits. Or I'm trying to make this investment. Well, what do you think, right? But usually we don't talk about these things. We think of like hiding them from our friends and colleagues. And then we are just hoping that maybe one day we'll blow up and then they'll see us and then they'll be like giving us yes a massa, respect like that, right? Like, I feel like sometimes we crave that social status that we forget we can also make an impact in the society that we live in. If you have experience, share them with people. If you have knowledge about something, like how to invest in stock, the other day I was talking to one of our friends about investing in Ghanaian stock exchange, and he was telling me, he's been looking into that, right? Okay. Like, if I hadn't brought up that conversation, I wouldn't know he's also looking into it. Like, I can ask him questions if he knows, right? Or he can ask me questions if I know something. And so those are some of the things that we can do in our community, educating the rising generation and even ourselves, like going out there to seek knowledge, to seek understanding how things actually work, instead of just like blaming the system like most people do. Yes, the system is in place, but we can also make so many things to happen for us in the system that's not meant to help us.
And I think from that perspective, then, I think my understanding of closing or bridging the gap, which was more of like individually bridging the gap in like your family and like trying to set it up for your generation, is different, because from there, it sounds more like we need to bridge the gap more in our community.
Yeah.
Right. We need to ensure that our communities are developing, that the knowledge that we gain so that we can set things up and try to like create wealth for our family, that knowledge is also shared amongst our community. And I feel when we do that, then the community is actually going to grow and then, become an elite community in the future. Because it's just going to go around.
Yeah, so. Because like rich people, that's how they started, right? It didn't just happen in a day, right?
But I also feel we need to support ourselves, right? One person cannot do it alone. And as you said, it's like sometimes you are trying to do it and there are people behind that are also trying to tear it down.
Yeah.
And so we need to have that vision of building our communities and thinking that, yes, our generations are all going to grow up together and going to like be in this together. And so we need to put things in place to ensure that when they come, they have a better system that they are going to thrive in.
And I think Utah here, I think they have the Utah Black Chamber of Commerce, which is a good thing, because like all people or Black people can come together and share ideas, share resources, which I think is a good step in bridging this gap. Something that I wanted to talk about, but we don't have much time right now, but it's very important that we also differentiate and actually understand what like money or wealth and assets and liability are, because usually we don't understand those things. We don't know how to like approach them, and we don't know how to build them, right? And so basically, if something compounds, if something gives you money instead of taking money from your account, that's an asset, right? And examples include like real estate shares, real estate shares, investing in the stock market, also like owning land. I know here it's very hard to own land, but people actually own land.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not one person. Usually people come together and then they buy the land, develop it, and then gain the profits from it. So these are some of the things that we're talking about, like when it comes to the community building. Because if we want to actually bridge this gap, it's not an individual effort. Yeah, we can do it together. If we try to do it individually, it's not going to be successful. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think you've probably said it all. Like, we need to come together to bridge that gap. You know, that gap exists, but to me, it's still like you need to find your place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. You need to find your place, make an impact, and gather community around you so that we can help bridge this gap. In closing, I'll ask you this question. What are some of the habits that you are portraying that some of your family members are actually learning from you, and are they actually going to help them to become successful or not? Are those habits going to help close that gap, or it will increase it? As I mentioned in my opening remarks, in 2053, if we don't do anything about this, wealth for Black people will be zero. That means we will not have anything in this world or in this country as far as wealth is concerned. But that's not the end of the world, right? These are important things that shape society. It improves equality in society. And so if we want representation, if we want inclusiveness, we need to do our own part of the job, right? And build our community so that we can have a voice. And this has been the Success Mindset. Today we're talking about how we can bridge the generational wealth gap. And we also offer some practical steps that you can actually take right now. So think about the investment portfolio that you want to do. That's it right now. If you need to start having a conversation with your family about money, start it right now, because now is the time, and together we can bridge this gap. Until then, we'll see you again.